Now, I could say, well, if you're trying to create a shortage, you're not going to make it look obvious. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. So, I know I didn't have a video yesterday. I was kind of busy, and I wasn't sure about today, but I'm getting to it. So, let's do it. So, today, a couple things I kind of wanted to talk about. I was looking around in some articles for like food shortage type of things, and found some somewhat interesting ones, as in who's saying there is something now to it, and who's saying, oh no, that's just a exaggeration, or here's what we really should be talking about, and all those kinds of things. And I was thinking about going into it, but honestly, it's not so surprising right now, really. I was slightly surprised at a New York Times article, but it is an opinion one. At first, it looked like it was going to be more about, it is saying we shouldn't be pulling away from globalization. We should be going towards more globalization. Then it goes on to talk about some things that were like, okay, like they actually said that they think that, this was what was interesting, actually. I was surprised at this, but they were talking about the inflation, and they actually said they think, as a global thing though, the White House needs to put its shoulder to the work of expanding the global production of energy, both through encouraging the near-term extraction of fossil fuels. That was shocking. And by investing in the development of sustainable sources of energy. Okay. And talking about tariffs on China, which I guess Biden's already looking into. And working with other nations, especially at-risk nations like Africa and so forth. Then they go on to talk about the conflict more. It was an interesting mix. It looks like they actually had something of a mix of people's opinions of these journalists, which was nice. Then we have, of course, Yahoo. I'll link all these if you are interested in looking at them in the description. Then we have Yahoo Finance coming in and saying scary headlines about food shortages are misleading. Here's why. Yes, so they're trying to say basically that it's conflating access and affordability with availability, saying that we have plenty available for food, but it's really about who can afford it, what countries, people, so forth, can afford it and have access to it. Which I don't 100% disagree with, because I do think right now we have enough food. Part of the problem is the shipping and the energy prices to move these things, or make, and it's not just the food. I mean, it takes so many things, to get the food together. Not only are we looking at just the higher like gas and diesel prices, but couple that with also things have to be repaired, and there's no parts. Farmers have a lot of moving parts here, like literal, mechanical parts to their equipment that need upkeep and need repaired, and they're having problems, a lot of problems getting anything. And this is happening with all kinds of mechanical things, mechanics for vehicles, for all kinds of vehicles, not just personal. So there's a lot. The problem isn't like one or two things, like, oh, well, we have inflation and that's the problem, or, oh, we have higher oil prices, oh, the conflict. No. It's literally like everything together that's the issue, which I know you know. And then, of course, they get to the real deal, which is one of the things that's always pushed, which is, well, we're just spending too much farmland and too much effort on making animal feed when we should just be producing plants, so everyone needs to be basically vegan or eat bugs, because we just can't afford, we don't have enough food. Somehow they first start out with, we have enough food. Don't be worrying about the, its availability and the cost. But oh, by the way, we don't have enough food because it's ridiculous. Because we have to feed these animals. I mean, it's just a little contradictory, I'll say. I stumbled upon something which I know I've heard of this site, of course, before, but called PolitiFact. I've never paid attention to it. I've never even been on it. I found it when I was looking at stuff, and I just was like, oh, this is what I want to talk about. They're talking about a Facebook post. 95-item list of food-destroying incidents demonstrates that, quote, you are duped if you think they aren't planning a food shortage. Now, I am unconvinced that it's a plan in the sense that they're sabotaging food places. I don't know. But I think there's other things it could be that are, in my opinion, equally as disturbing as something where someone's going in and actually sabotaging and starting fires or something. I don't think you have to have that for there to be a big problem. Though I'm not 100% sure yet, I really need to look more at the numbers because it's, you have to find the right kind of sources that have all the numbers together, because it is true that every year there's, fires in processing plants and warehouses and stuff like that. This happens, or other kinds of destruction, natural disaster things. This does happen all the time. It's just, are we just noticing it now because we're being hyper aware, or is it really more? I do think it seems like more. I'm not quite sure exactly how much more yet, but I think it does seem like more on the numbers that I have seen. But I haven't really seen I haven't found yet a fully exhaustive list of everything. And honestly, I don't particularly feel like checking every little thing. So I'm going to put forth a different hypothesis than it being a full-on them behind it, sabotage or whatever. This talks about this post, right? Now, this is there if your time is short, which I'll mainly read this because it, says a lot. But this is what this PolitiFact thing is saying. Most of the incidents included in this 95-item list of agricultural incidents involving fires and destroyed poultry were not suspicious, according to authorities. That's true. They're finding it not suspicious. More than 10 items were duplicates. Okay. That might just be from this actual post. Factually incorrect or did not appear to have happened at all. 50 incidents involved thousands of chickens or turkeys being killed because they were exposed to a highly contagious avian influenza. I will say, as far as I've seen, it does seem the testing for this is ridiculous, slightly ridiculous, not very accurate. That's why I say ridiculous. And not everyone agrees. So, even the farmers, some of them are just like, why are you doing this? So, more than 15 items on the list were fires that officials said weren't suspicious. Then, experts in fire research and avian influenza said the list's legitimate incidents do not demonstrate that there is an ongoing effort to create food shortages. Okay. So they wanted to find out if there was anything legitimate about this lengthy claim. So then they go on to talk about more than half of the result of a raging poultry epidemic. This raging epidemic that no one is talking about except for, those of us actually paying attention here. But okay. Then they're talking about duplicates. Okay, these fires listed. Only one of these 30 fires listed was determined to have been intentionally set. Okay. Now, I could say, well, if you're trying to create a shortage, you're not going to make it look obvious. You know what I mean? You're going to have people who know what they're doing. They're not going to just start a fire where, come on. You can't go around if you want to create a shortage and do this over time and start fires everywhere and other things and have it so obvious that all the, the investigators are like, well, this was started, that would, no, people would notice that. And then it really would be a problem. And then you'd get looked into. You're not going to make it look obvious. You're going to hide it. So, and I'm sure I'm not a fire inspector. I do not know anything about fire, starting fires or not. But I'm pretty sure there's probably a way that you could make it look like an accident. But okay. So, but I'm just going to go with what they're saying. And here's my idea, okay? Here's what I was thinking about this. Let's say it's not on purpose. Maybe it's not. That's also equally scary because I'm thinking faulty things. Like they said, they're accidents. And most, from what I've heard when they say an accident, they weren't talking about, not in this one I don't think, but in other things I've seen, they weren't talking about like, an employee started a fire. No, it's like electrical, things like that, that kind of accident. Probably, I think that's actually a valid thing to look into because we had 2 years, basically, roughly, let's say, about 2 years of, and still ongoing, let's be honest, of low amounts of workers. We shut down things. Yes, we probably didn't shut down all the food, but there was constantly people out. Things weren't being serviced. You know what I mean? You have 2 years of that. You're not upkeeping your warehouses, your processing plants, whatever. There's going to be accidents then. And yeah, they're going to be catastrophic in the sense of burning things down and killing all your animals or burning all your crops or whatever. Like, I can easily see how that would be an accident. No one has to do that intentionally, but that it happens. But the problem is that's worrisome because that means that it's going to keep happening probably because they're not, the ones that have happened now are not the only places who had, for 2 years were either shut down or low, staff or couldn't get people to come out and service their equipment and everything. This is a big problem because not only, let's say we even had the full staff now, which we all know we do not. You can see your whole place where you live, everywhere everyone lives now in the US, there's constantly people trying to hire everyone and for whatever reason, I don't know what's going on. It's very strange. It doesn't even make any sense, to be honest. No one has any money, yet somehow no one's working, and they're not still giving people money, so I don't really know what's going on. I mean, besides the fact that theft has gone up, I can only imagine. I wonder if they did that across the year, they calculated that, how much theft has gone up. It's probably astronomical. We don't have as much people, so things are still not being serviced correctly. And even when they're being serviced, we're running out of parts of things. This has been reported on tons of channels. Tons of people saying, I'm being laid off because my company doesn't have the parts. Or when we go to order something that's pertinent to their job, actually having a job, it's not in for, we're going to have to wait for 9 months, to get it. And that's over and over and over. Only we have two of these, very important things left. And as soon as we run out, we're going to have to shut down. This is happening all over the US. Let's say it's an accident, that these are accidents, because I actually think that would make sense. You don't have to be conspiratorial about it. That's still a big, big problem. If that's the case, that is a big problem. Even if it's not a real shortage, we still have enough food, it's just going to raise prices even more because supply and demand. It doesn't matter. Even if there's not real shortages to the sense of I can't go and buy it, it might just be I can't buy it because I can't afford it. So because there's less of it, so the prices go up. This is how it works. That for whatever reason, a lot of people don't seem to understand. And possibly and probably a growing problem. Because right now we still have some ships out, I believe. There's still, things are starting to come in that we had sitting around waiting. We have so many things though that once those are done, unless something changes with especially China and some of the other countries, but especially China, where we get the majority of our stuff really, we're going to run out for real. And then we are talking shortages on things. Anyways, I just wanted to end with a couple verses. So, Proverbs 28:19. He who tills his land will have plenty of bread, but he who follows frivolity will have poverty enough. this is convicting to me too, because I have never gardened anything. I still have plans to. I still have not started it. I am really busy. I don't know. It's a lot because I'm gonna have to learn everything. I literally don't know what to do at all, like at all. So there is that part of it. It's a big thing, but I really want to get like just even one plant going this summer so that I could try it, fail, whatever, doesn't matter at this moment. I still can eat. And then Proverbs 21:20, there is desirable treasure and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man squanders it. I think that says something to preparing, and not in the sense of being overly prepared. Like, there is some verses you can say talk about, like, not storing up crazy amounts year after year, years and years of stuff. But I don't think living like basically my great grandma lived is unwise. I think it's probably actually wise. Having like a year, I don't think is silly. It seems silly right now in the sense of how we've all lived, but I don't think it's bad or anything. I actually think that's pretty prudent, probably. And then the last one, 1 Timothy 5:8, but if anyone does not provide for his own, and especially for those of his household, he has denied the faith and is worse than an unbeliever. Now that, I think, is interesting. I actually hadn't read that verse before when I was looking up some things for this video. And so, I don't know, I just thought it was interesting because I think one of the things that I liked about the idea of that I kind of thought was also silly when people are like, oh, you'll just waste, just be wasted. If it comes to the point where you haven't used it and we don't need to use any, like some of our preps and they're gonna, let's say, expire or something soon, just give it to a homeless shelter, or to a food bank, to the blessing boxes. I don't think it has to go to waste. They'll probably eat it right away. So even if it's going to expire in a month or something, you're like, well, I'm probably not going to eat that. Well, then give it to someone else who will eat it right then. And also, this talks about your family and providing for your family, and it's pretty clear on that. So, all right, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Please like, subscribe, share, all that really, really helps this video. Thanks so much. Bye.